All right, here we go. We are live and lively. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hope Fellowship. Who's texting me? Good grief. All right. It happens, trust me, and usually it's from the third row. But anyway, good morning, Mikey. Place your burger order with Drew. Yeah. Obviously, today's a special day. Again. But let's get into all this. Welcome to everybody online. Great to have you with us this morning. This really nice, overcast, kind of warm Sunday in September 11th. Lots of stuff going on today. So let's go through our announcements and stuff. Hopefully you've got your coffee, and hopefully it tastes as good as I've always promised. So I need to have the clicker as soon as you give me the power. Okay, this is just a cute factor. That's it. It's little birdies coming out of a thingy learning to fly, I think. But it's just cute. There's no spiritual connection whatsoever, except God made them. Isn't that great? All right. Then another duck one. Finally, get all your ducks in a row. See, I got the groan. Elizabeth groaned with her eyes as in, ugh. All right, here's another duck one. Saw a sign at a farm that said, duck, eggs. I was contemplating the use of the comma when it hit me. Groan, terrible. And back to school happened this week, so back when I was a kid, or 2 years before I was, that's what it was like going to school. And nowadays it's GPS, cell phone, gluten-free, nut-free snacks, EpiPen, microchip, allergy alert cell phone, yeah, and a tracker from mama. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Birthdays. Nobody present here that has a birthday, unless we don't know what?
September 23rd.
That's still coming? Never. It's the coming week. But if I don't have that info, email it to me. So we're going to really say happy birthday to him next time because he really needs the attention. You're probably away that week anyway. So Daryl Blake. Haven't seen him around for a while, but been in contact loosely, so happy birthday to Daryl. And of course, Lydia. So happy birthday to Lydia. Anniversaries, there's no anniversaries that I'm aware of this week. And let's pray for Paula in Utah. Lots of stuff going on in her life. She chimes in most often, and I always call her Paul McCartney, remember? The mix-up, I thought it was funny. But anyway, just pray for Paula. They're going through some tough stuff with family things, and her daughter had a really bad car accident with a cement truck. An actual cement truck, and is fine. The car's a mess. I saw a picture of it. So that hits you emotionally, you know, and then her husband lost his job, or however that worked. So there's lots going on. And to have someone connected to Hope Fellowship down in Utah, and we have people connected from all over the place. So if you are watching, comment and tell us where you're watching from. But it's bizarre to see how far and wide and how the online family is growing slowly, and it's pretty exciting. I love it. And then today, special day. Carol Brooks passed away last year on this day. She was a dear saint, and when you asked her how she was doing, what was the answer? Tickety-boo. And she was in extreme pain most of the time, even when I went to the hospital in long-term care. Tickety-boo. Like, she still pulled it out. Once in a while, she kind of showed a real emotion, but she was the pillar who would hold up everybody that's new, somebody that seemed down, somebody who was sitting alone. She'd go sit with them. I've not met anybody like her since. And so we just want to honor Carol in a big way. So if you have connections to Dave or her grandson, please reach out to them. Dom, I'm going to text him later, but today's an important day. After the most important part, barbecue today. So I've taken the order from almost everybody here, which is great. St. James Church, they're having their service in their sanctuary. They're going to be joining us for the barbecue for whoever chooses to come. So make sure you be a Carol. Greet, say hello, get to know folks. We are going to pull out tables. So as soon as we're finished the service, if those that are able, grab some chairs, stack them, get some tables set up, and put chairs around the tables. It's just a lot easier to sit and chat at a table enjoying. And I know you can get absorbed in the chatting pretty quick, but could you kind of have a radar on helping clean up too as we go? We really could use that help. It would mean a lot. We had some great help this morning. Almost lost my fingers, but great help this morning. That was my fault. But anyway, so we got great hamburgers. We got jumbo dogs with chili. So you can put chili on this morning. And yeah, I know I said it's light, but that's okay. It is light. You can put a little dab on. Anyway. Friday, September 23rd. That's not next week, is it? No, it's not. It's the week after. Join us here for a Blue Jays game at night. We're just going to watch it on the screen right here and heckle each other, cheer, hopefully not cry. So we're going for the wins. Last night's game was awesome. So I know, exactly. So if we can't go to a game, let's go to a game together here if you like the Jays. And if that event is fun, we'll try and book a few more, especially as they will make the playoffs. All right, and bring snacks. Rod, I'm going to invite Rod to come up, and if you can get that video queued, Rod has a few words to share. Hopefully our sound doesn't go bye-bye, because it was at this point last time we went, yeah.
That was read my lips, in case you wondered. I don't know if any of you did that last time. Yes, we had a technical glitch that eliminated audio. Video was there. My wife told me when I got home. Didn't hear a thing you said. She never knows. Anyway, Gail, I hope you're watching. But this isn't just to her. This is to, I'm speaking to you here in the room because you're right in front of me and I see you all. But I am also speaking to all of those of you who are watching online, and especially to those of you who are watching online who have never made any kind of donation to the support of Hope Fellowship. So, I'll come right out and say it. I'm here to ask for money.
You are a salesman.
Yeah, but I don't ask for money. I let the person get to that point. I'm a soft closer. I wasn't there. I come right out and said it. Occasionally, you do have to do that when you're in sales. And I actually had a customer like that this week where I realized I got to get to the point. I said, so, are you going to buy the car? She did. I knew I was pretty confident we were at that point. Anyway, rabbit trails, too easy to go down. So if you've been watching online and you've been doing that for a while, or even maybe this is the first or second time, and you've been exposed to this grace message, and it sounds new and it sounds unique. It's different than what you've heard before. I know we've been hearing it here at Hope Fellowship for nigh on to 20 years now, and from other speakers who spoke the grace message as well, prior to Mike coming and joining us here at Hope, along with his family. We benefited from it. I know you are benefiting from it as well. So, if you're receiving rewards from it, please share your monetary abundance with Hope Fellowship so we can help keep this going. And we have a video for you here this morning from a friend of Hope Fellowship. Let's hit it.
Hey, Hope Fellowship, it's me, Simon. I hope you're all doing amazing. Now, if you value being connected, consider financial support to help keep things going. We also want to thank everybody for their regular financial support, which makes everything we do at Hope Fellowship possible. Now, you can support in many ways. You can PayPal or e-transfer to admin@hopefellowshipycc.com. You can deliver checks to this address. You can also give online or arrange automatic monthly payments. And if you want to, you can contact Jen Shaw. Again, thank you so much for all of your support and help. And we just want to keep everything going because it's amazing and we're an amazing family. So thank you so much. Hopefully you're having an awesome day. Bye!
Thank you, Simon. Back over to you, Mike.
All right. We're not going to do such an extensive conversation every week, but once in a while it's important to communicate. And yeah, that's how it works. Let's get Russ to come on up. Russ is going to do multiple things. He's got some trainee, awesome person back there ready to help with the sound and father-son duo, and we got some really good songs. So let's enjoy the live music this morning. I hope you enjoy it.
Good morning. Yeah, we got a father-son team back there pushing some buttons. One of my favorite tasks in life is pushing buttons. pushing my wife's buttons. All right. I thought I would open us up this morning with a reading from Psalm 37. Just the first 6 verses. An encouraging psalm for us to consider as we come together this morning in corporate worship. Psalm of David. Don't worry about the wicked or envy those who do wrong, for like the grass, they soon fade away. Like spring flowers, they soon wither. Trust in the Lord and do good. Then you will live safely in the land and prosper. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desires. Commit everything you do to the Lord. Trust him, and he will help you. He will make your innocence radiate like the dawn, and the justice of your cause will shine like the noonday sun. Why don't we stand today together as we sing? I walked alone, trying to find my way on winding roads and paths that I have made, wandering so far from grace. I've given up on things that I believe, my hopes and dreams were buried in the sea, but you were there calling out to me. Life will rise, death will die. Your love is mine, your love is mine. Stains washed white and paid the price. Your love is mine, your love is mine. Oh, your love is mine, your love is mine. I once was lost and buried by my shame, but you took the cross and suffered in my place. You rescued me. I belong to you. Life will rise, death will die. Your love is mine, your love is mine. Stains washed white, you paid the price. Your love is mine, your love is mine. Your love is mine, your love is mine. I called your name, you looked my way, you looked my way. I called your name, you looked my way, you looked my way. I called your name, you looked my way, you looked my way. Called your name, what could separate, what could separate? Life will rise, death will die. Your love is mine, your love is mine. Stains washed white, you paid the price. Your love is mine, your love is mine. Oh, your love is mine, your love is mine. Oh, your love is mine, your love is mine. I always try to make this super fast, but it never works out quite the way you plan. You have been a dwelling place, oh everlasting God. Before you formed the for it all. And soon our lives turn back to dust when the sun comes up, satisfy us before the day has passed us by, before our hearts forget all your goodness. Satisfy us with your love. The wrath of God poured out for sin on Jesus crucified. Consider him our hiding place, our shelter in light. Because he lived and died for us, when the sun comes up, satisfy us. When the day has passed us by, before our hearts forget all your goodness, satisfy us with your love. Teach us, Lord, to number our days on earth. Give us more wisdom in the secret art, as you display amazing grace through Jesus Christ for us. So teach us, Lord. Teach us, Lord, to number our days on earth. Give us more wisdom in the secret heart, as you display amazing grace through Jesus Christ for us. And when the sun comes up, satisfy us. When the day has passed us by, before our hearts forget all your goodness, satisfy us with your love. Satisfy us with your love. Satisfy us with your love. Oh Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, and the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. to die. I scarce can take it in. And on that cross, my burden gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sin. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how
Thank you, Russ. That was awesome. Who enjoyed that? Yeah, I did too. Wow. I was at a funeral yesterday and we did How Great Thou Art, and it was a Brethren of Christ background, Mennonite church background, and sure enough, there was just a piano player. It broke out into all the parts. Everybody singing all the alto, tenor. I didn't hear the bass, but that's okay. I think it was Mama sang bass. But anyway, it was really, it's really special. Just hearing that song done slowly. There is value in some of these songs that we're familiar with. I'm not into deconstructing and destroying things that have value. So when we're on this journey of deconstruction, if you want to use that term, I prefer to use renovation. There are some things we need to ponder and not throw away. All right, time for the kids. Kids, it's time for you to head on out. Those that want to go, be really, really, really nice to your teacher. Okay? Like really nice. If you want a chili dog, that is. Just kidding. Who can smell the onions? It's like overpowering my coffee smell. Ugh. Seriously. All right, let's say hello to some folks that are watching online this morning. If you're watching and haven't commented, so comment a hello and tell us where you're watching from. That would help. First one in the house this morning is Lisa in Saskatchewan. That's great. Good morning. And Gail in Kitchener, so definitely she might have heard what you said, Rod. Amazing. She did. Pardon? Okay, good. She does listen to you. And Paul and Debbie down in Chatham, good morning to you. Ruth in Kitchener, good morning. Karen in Wellesley, good morning. Brenda, oh, Brenda, we miss you. Sorry you could be here. John says he's going to eat your burger for you, so just letting you know. Paula, good morning. She says, thanks so much for the prayers. And then Brian, he says, we'll be late. Yeah, just in time for the food. Got it. We're going to time this. As soon as he walks in, we're going to all wave, okay? That's funny. Debbie and Jerry in New Hamburg, good morning. Glad to see you guys watching online. Howard in Sorrento, BC. Karen and Alex in Ottawa, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Bev and Chatham, good morning to you. Stephen writes he had to face the loss of his cat. And some people kind of wonder, well, pets, do we mourn them? Well, John clearly knows when he lost his dog, and I've lost pets. It's an emotional attachment. So thanks for telling us that, Stephen. And I'm sorry you had that loss. And somebody else commented about that as well. Nancy, oh my goodness, Nancy Jenks is watching from, Laura, you ready? Prince Edward Island. Yes, watching from PEI, seriously. And Lisa writes she's in Yorkton, Saskatchewan. That's great. And she also writes, apparently NFL starts today. Well, technically, I think it started Thursday. Today's just the first Sunday. Not that I know. Anyway. And then Lisa writes, can't hear. And I'm going to guess that's Rod mouthing everything. So I bet you got her. I bet you did. And then Rhonda says, good morning. Hey, good morning, Rhonda here in Elmira. And Lisa says, all good. See, the sound is fine. Susan in Stony Creek, good morning. And Paula writes to Stephen about the cat. It's wonderful. Jim writes from Windsor, Ontario. And Cecil from Texas. And Stephen says, thanks. And Lisa, love the music. And then G'day from the fifth row. You know who that is. That's Rod. What a morning. What a hustle and bustle. And I remember Maggie came in to the kitchen this morning. And it was like, everybody's buzzing around. She's just looking. What do I do? Anyway, it's all calm now, and we have great coffee, and everything's ready. Let's get into our time this morning. I want to continue from last week. Last week was kind of heavy, but good, and we're going to continue with the heavy. I don't want to apologize for it, but I also want to make sure we're not just dealing with fluff. I've been to church services where it's the same old all the time, and I can't do fake. I just can't. I want to make it real. Even if it is something we've repeated, I want it fresh every time. And so I hope you hear my heart in what I'm about to share. And not that I'm coming from a place of having arrived. I have not arrived at any of this stuff. I'm exploring and inviting you into the exploration of these topics. So what are some of the things I've pondered this week? There's a few things that really hit me, and I want to share them with you. It was connected to this theme of this message. It's up to you to break generational trauma. And I thought I've seen this image many times, but it's real. It has to stop somewhere. So somebody may have used the word stupid and yell at you, and then it continues down the line, the shaming messages, but somewhere it's got to stop. And we speak into the lives of individuals. I know I grew up with the life message because we get life messages from people in our lives. My mother was always saying, I'm not good enough. Everything I do is not good enough. And she would almost yell at me, and I would get hit for just the things that weren't quite good enough. Not good enough cleaning of your room, shove my face in the carpet, literally, rug burn on the nose, you name it. So not good enough. Another individual used the phrase, you are a nothing. And that was like when they were very angry with me, they would literally scream that in my face. What does that do to you? You keep hearing these messages. I know some of you've been traumatized with bullying and other things. These things affect our soul. Our words matter. Right here, everything you say, how you speak to your kids, how you speak to your parents. You're sending a message with your tone. It's powerful. Next. Don't tell someone to get over it. Help them to get through it. This comes from judging tough situations, even situations that we think, oh, come on, grow up. That's really, when you say, oh, come on, grow up, we're really saying, get over it. We don't want to engage. And sometimes that response, we may have some history with that person, so that's why we're frustrated, and that's okay. But this is about getting through difficulties, not getting over them. Even grief. You don't get over grief. You walk through the loss. Even today, remembering Carol, remembering the loss of loved ones. Grieving may never stop. The intensity may lessen. And hopefully we encourage one another. As you are shifting, this is a good one, you will begin to realize that you are not the same person you used to be. The things you used to tolerate have become intolerable. When you once remained quiet, you are now speaking your truth. Where you once battled and argued, you are now choosing to remain silent. You are beginning to understand the value of your voice, and there are some situations that no longer deserve your time, energy, and focus. This is called growing up. I know someone was recently at a type of a reunion event and hadn't seen each other for years. And the last memory you have is when you last saw them. I've bumped into people that I went to school with, even at a funeral. It's like, I haven't seen you for a long time. It was the guy that bullied me. How you doing? All I remember is the bully. But after 5 minutes of conversation, we both realized we've both grown up. We don't remember that. And we catch up. We change. Even from a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, our journey of what we believe and how we think can change. We have to remember that people do change and develop and grow, mature. So I think we just need to be guarded wisely and filter how we react to some people. Take it your own way, because this is for somebody today. I like this. I do not think that I will ever reach a stage when I will say, this is what I believe. Finished. What I believe is alive and open to growth. I love this. This has been my last, I would have said 20 years, but then I'd say the last 10 years, but then even the last 5 years, even more. Just the dogma of what you believe needs to soften. The absolute tone of this is what I believe, because what you believed about God 10 years ago is likely quite different today. It's not the static same. That's why it's hard to have faith statements or statements of faith where you lock in, this is what I believe. Now, there are some good ones that are really, like I love the Apostles' Creed, I like the Nicene Creed. Those are old and ancient and still have great value, which teach. But when we put in, this is what I believe about the Holy Spirit, this is what I believe about salvation, this is what I believe about hell, this is what I believe about you name it, you're locking it in, leaving no room to change things. Okay? This is about being teachable. Nobody's waving. Inside joke. All right. Last one. I imagine one of the reasons people cling to their hates so stubbornly is because they sense once hate is gone, they'll be forced to deal with the pain. This is a big one in this mental health thinking patterns journey that we're discussing. There are angry people. And we see them especially in the last 2-3 years. We've seen anger come to the surface. People actually lash on, cling on to topics when the topics aren't the issue, but we then attack back at the topic when really underneath there's something more going on and we forget to see the human. We only hear the adversity, and yet there's more, but we don't take time to do that. When you see somebody lash out, be very, someone who's very feisty about a topic, realize there's more going on than you possibly know, just like there is with you. Oh, I love this. I thought it was the last one, but there's 2 more. The very fire of hell is the fire of love, but it is a love that will burn the evil out of you. Now, this is George MacDonald, long time ago, before even this revisiting the topic of hell was even safe. There is a sense already that the very fire of hell is the fire of love, not that torture of eternal beat the daylights out of you with fire. No. It's the love of God pouring into you. Last one. God does nothing as a judge that he wouldn't do as a father. Again, George MacDonald. This one should make you think. We've talked about that many times. I'm not going to get into it, but this has to do with our concept of who we think God is and how we read the scriptures. All right? So I'll let you chew on that. Henry Nouwen writes, Every bit of life is touched by a bit of death. And I thought this was important because we're dealing with, in the world, one of the most popular deaths now is the Queen of England and Queen Elizabeth. And there are multiple perspectives on it, but we're dealing with a loss of an individual. Family is grieving a loss, and that's where my focus is. It's not worth visiting all the political stuff right now. Sorry, be human. And so to remember this will make sense when I read it. Joy and sadness are as close to each other as the splendid colored leaves of a New England or Ontario fall into the somberness of barren trees. When you touch the hand of a returning friend, you already know that they will have to leave again. When you are moved by the quiet vastness of a sun-colored ocean, you miss the friend who cannot see the same. Joy and sadness are born at the same time, both arising from such deep places in your heart that you can't find words to capture your complex emotions. But this intimate experience in which every bit of life is touched by a bit of death can point us beyond the limits of our existence. It can do so by making us look forward in expectation to the day when our hearts will be filled with perfect joy, a joy that no one shall take away from us. Both are together. So how do we live this life within us? The life of Christ lived out by waking up to the awareness of our thinking patterns if you've never taken time to ponder that. You need the plan. Every game, there's a strategy. Every mission, there's a strategy. Every sports game, there's a plan. You need to know your opposition, how you're going to play. I remember watching baseball and clearly preparing for my message. I saw the plays. They know one hitter will hit a certain, that they're typically hit one way. So they make sure they shift people over to that place to make sure they catch that guy. And it's a strategy because they know in advance. There was also new pitchers that nobody hit against, so the hitters had to figure out how this person pitches so they can hit a ball. Well, why don't we do that with our daily mind? If we're having a difficult time, why are we not stopping for a moment to realize what else could be going on that's giving us difficulty? Why are we so stressed? Why are we anxious on certain things? Last time I showed you this emotion wheel. And I showed you this because the primary emotions that we've been talking about are anger, fear, love, joy, surprise, sadness. There's offshoots that go deeper and wider, words that express even more. And the reason I show this is because the 6 thinking patterns I'm trying to teach you or share with you are just the big ones. I'm not locking into all the hyper details. You can go to a psychologist for that. I'm just trying to make you aware, open your mind that there are more menu items in our thinking patterns than we possibly realized. 6 patterns of thinking that hinder a healthy mind. And here's what we covered last time. Cynical thinking, negative thinking. Again, this is the broad brush stroke, okay? Always imagining the worst outcomes, seeing the worst in every circumstance, seeing the slightest imperfections, every reason why it won't work. So that's a general picture of a cynical thinking mind. Not everybody thinks quite like that all the time, but there are some patterns in people. You've met people who they just seem to always be negative about everything, and they're really frustrating to be with. Then there's the intuitive psychic thinking. This one's funny. Thinking you can know what people really mean. You see the hidden motives, reading between the lines. They don't really mean what they're saying. Paranoia, judgmental. That's a type of thinking that can really mess you up. And today, number 3, extremist self-absorbed thinking. Basically, I'm sharing this with you so that maybe you can identify a thing or two. And if any one of these 6, there's one that seems dominant to you, then go back and explore that one and find a way to not let that pattern rule you, because that will change your trajectory in your mind. What does extremist self-absorbed thinking look like? It makes a big deal out of everything. Very dramatic. They blow everything out of proportion. They imagine events that are so far away from reality. You've heard a lot of that lately. Anyway, one extreme to the next is a pattern of they're always extremely this way or that. Like the pendulums go wee, like really far, back and forth. Overanalysis, dissect situations, over-preparing for responses. Sometimes this comes to people with high anxiety. Not the whole list as a broad brush stroke, but some of these categories. There is an overthinking part that can really paralyze you. And we need professional help to get out of those patterns sometimes. Because otherwise you'd be out of your pattern. Proverbs 3:5-7 says, trust in the Lord completely. Do not rely on your own opinions. With all your heart, rely on Him to guide you, and He will lead you in every decision you make. I love this next one. Become intimate with Him in whatever you do, and He will lead you wherever you go. Don't think for a moment that you know it all. Let me repeat that. Don't think for a moment you know it all. That's for the know-it-alls. For wisdom comes when you adore Him with undivided devotion and avoid everything that's wrong. This is a loaded text. This is really loaded. By the way, wisdom is a feminine word. It's not masculine, it's feminine, which is important. We're both masculine, feminine. All of us have that in us. We can't just wash away one, exclude the other. This is a powerful text, and this comes from relationship, knowing Jesus better and better. Self-depreciating thinking. I know a number of folks like this. This is a sad one. This one's probably the easier one to see. Always putting yourself down. Not being able to see accomplishments, but other people do, but you can't. Minimizing a compliment. How many times do you thank someone for what they did a great job? And I have to admit, receiving compliments is hard. You know, I love to be appreciated, but when somebody says something really, really complimentary, it's like awkward. Like, you know, maybe that's a bunch of us. Make the compliment a joke or turn it back on the other person, as in deflecting it. Never see themselves as worth rescuing. This is about self-esteem. Many individuals have a problem with what they don't like their bodies, they don't like their situation, they don't like their personality, they want to change, they don't like their patterns, and it's like self-absorbed. It really is. It's a self-absorbed thing. It's looking inward too much, because when we look at Christ, things change. When we look at who Christ made us to be and all the goodness that Christ has put in us already, oh my goodness, when we focus on that, we are not going to see this. So, remedy for this low self-esteem is to tell people who they are in Christ. Speak truth to them. Speak goodness. Be a light bearer. Be one who speaks hope into someone's life. Don't be that voice that we saw at the beginning, you know, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're this, and pass that down. Speak hope. Less critical. Don't point out all the failures. They know they're failures already. I've not figured this one out well myself. This is a journey of learning and growing. But self-depreciating thinking is a really tough one that can hinder how we live our lives one to another. Number 5, emotionally driven thinking. Now, we just saw that emotions chart. Emotions are much bigger and wider than we think. But when we live from just emotions, as in, and what I mean by that is reacting only by the instant reaction to how we feel, that is not always a safe place. Sometimes our bodies take over when we're in real danger and emotions get us out of a dangerous situation. But day to day, our emotions, we don't live from them because our emotions really deal with what we're thinking about. So, emotionally driven thinking, negative emotions, there's an overlap on a couple of these mind patterns. Thoughts running on our feelings is dangerous. So if it's just living from your emotions, you got to flip it for a moment and say, wait a minute, what am I thinking about that's making me feel this way? The feelings are a ding, 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 ding alarm signal to you. But the feelings are not the answer or the problem. The problem is what has triggered those emotions. Is it a crisis? Is it a life message given to you from someone? Do you feel rotten about yourself? And we can go through all these thinking patterns. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying about the feelings. You can't be driven by them. I'm just telling you how I feel. Ugh. That's scary. We don't know how to handle our thoughts well. And not everybody does. We have to learn this. Burned in the past, you don't trust in the future. Worry is a common thread when it comes to emotional-driven thinking. Now, Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget about what's happened. Don't keep going over old history. Be alert, be present. I'm about to do something brand new. It's bursting out. Don't you see it? There it is. I'm making a road through the desert, rivers in the Badlands. I know this is an old covenant verse, but you can still find hope in it for you today. It's not to you, but it's for you. You can find good news in this. Forget about what's happened. Now, that does not mean completely block it out and ignore it, okay? I know what's happened in my past. I'm never going to forget it. But it should not be part of the dwelling in my mind every day, all the time. You can't manage all that bandwidth. None of us can. Don't keep going over that old history. Look forward. Now, this takes work. This is thinking pattern work. Fantasy thinking. This is a friend of mine came up with this. I had 5, and then my friend said, there's another one that you need on your list. Fantasy thinking. What is that? So my buddy Ken, some of you know who he is, we had a long discussion about this, and he's right. This is awesome, and it's real. Playing out all the ways a situation may end up, negative and positive. So you're thinking through, well, if this happens, then I got to be ready for that, and then I got to think of this as well, and how am I going to respond to this? Do you know what I mean? Dwelling on the negative and creating more and more outcomes. So then it goes on. So if that's going to happen, if that's their attitude, then I got to be ready for this. But what if they go down this road? Then I got to prepare for this and talk to so-and-so and so-and-so. And you're playing out a movie that's not even been created yet. You're fantasizing a plan or an outcome that most often is nothing like how it turns out anyway. Most often. But it's the living there. You're allowed to go there once in a while. You're allowed to process that. But some people get stuck in a spin cycle and really live there, and it keeps them up at night. And they can't sleep, or they stress during the day. Their mind is not at rest because they're so over-concerned. How do we find that place of rest? Next week, we're going to get into some positive patterns that I think will be helpful. Dreaming up your own movie in your head of how it'll all play out. Creativity unchecked. That's really what fantasy thinking is. About to fall asleep, fantasizing regrets. We think through those things. Oh, I wish I did this. I feel bad for that. We can't forgive ourselves. All those kinds of things come into this kind of thinking. So all 6 patterns, here they are at once. Cynical, negative thinking, intuitive, psychic thinking, extremist, self-absorbed, self-depreciating, emotionally driven, and fantasy thinking. These are patterns that ought not to be in our lives. They can pop in, but not patterns where they overtake how we have a healthy mind. Fear and worry are at the root of all 6. And worry is an expression of faith in God's absence or lack of concern. It's the firstborn son of fear, negative faith. I didn't come up with that, but that was pretty good. I'm all around you like a cocoon of light. My presence with you is a promise, independent of your awareness of me. Many things can block this awareness, But the major culprit is worry. My children tend to accept worry as an inescapable fact of life. However, worry is a form of unbelief. It's a Thelma to me. Who is in charge of your life? If it is you, then you have good reason to worry. I like that. But since I'm in charge, worry is both unnecessary and counterproductive. When you start to feel anxious about something, relinquish the situation to me. Back off a bit, redirecting your focus to me. I will either take care of the problem myself or show you how to handle it. In this world, you will have problems, but you need not lose sight of me. Next week, we're going to talk about some powerful actions that will empower and enhance healthy thinking patterns. Advice, really good stuff. I hope this gave you kind of a menu, whether you don't see it in yourself because it's not an issue, or whether you do, or you see it in others around you. Knowing this helps you understand and gives you patience and empathy. Not judgment to go point it out and correct it in people. Don't go running and, well, I heard you have this and this thinking. You need to change that. Don't do that. Oh, my goodness. This is just now another way for you to express love and care to someone in light of what you may see as patterns in their lives. And love will drive that out. All of us have the capacity to help one another. Would you please bow your heads in a word of prayer with me as we close? Heavenly Father, help us to take every thought captive. Help us to analyze and not overanalyze. And more importantly, teach us to hear your voice above all the screams of stress in our society and all the chaos and clutter around us. Teach us to be still, know you are in us, and listen for your direction and guidance in us, just like you guided Jesus constantly as he walked this earth. Thank you, Father. Amen. I hope that was encouraging to you. I look forward to next week because that's a whole lot better than what I just covered. All right, reminders. Wednesday morning, 8 a.m., Still Growing Grace, which is a program that I deal with big topics. Last week, I had Richard Murray on, online only. Richard Murray and I were talking about evangelism and how Paul dealt with speaking to unbelievers at Mars Hill. And I think part 2 is really good. So I hope you'll tune in. If you didn't catch Wednesdays, go back and watch it. If you're not on our email list, for those watching online, please send me a message with your email address, and that way you can stay in the know of stuff going on weekly here. Birthdays and anniversaries, send us your dates if we don't have them. And then, of course, we'd love to see you all next Sunday. Those watching online that are sort of localish, if you're able to come, we'd love to have you join us if you're able to come, even if it's only just once in a while. That's it for now. Thank you so much. It's time for chili dogs. Have a great week. See ya.